Are you starting to see it now? They're all in on it. They've always known when it's coming. They're preparing. Are you seeing what's happening with retail? As retail goes that way, and all the big money, all the companies and nations are taking over, then you have things like this. US SEC and El Salvador CNAD explore tokenization with cross-border trials. Wait. Yeah, one has to ask themselves, let's say they're successful with this, right? How do they achieve, because let's just take SEC out of it. This is the US. How do they achieve global reach? Because they're not going to have it. Not with all the conflict they have. How do they achieve that? Why do all of these countries, whether it's the US or China or any of these powerhouses, feel so confident in their systems, even though they're experiencing a rapid advancement in fragmentation? Why? Can you tell me? Maybe there's other answers. I suppose everyone sees something different. No two eyes see the same thing. But what my eye is seeing is that the connection there are utility coin companies that keep neutrality, a neutral platform for them all to use. Latin America, you have XRP down there, XRPL. You have Algorand down there, Stellar down there, Hedera's down there. I'm trying to think who else. Quant is down there. US, you have them all here. In China, Ripple has some of the best relationships in China. There's a few others dabbling over there as well. Africa, we all know who's in Africa. Australia, Chainlink, XRPL, and Hedera. Although I haven't heard about what Hedera's doing down there in quite some time. But they're there. Europe, we know the story there. Algorand, Stellar, Ripple. I'm trying to think if anyone else is there. I believe Zenfin has some legs in Europe, don't they? My apologies. Just make sure you look that up for yourself. But I know Zenfin is deep all over the place, especially in the MENA region. But at least from when I last read about all of that, things could have changed since then. But that's the connection, right? So they can play the game and have these conflicts, etc., superficially, knowing that if the old system fails, if the old system doesn't do what they needed to do, the new system is here anyway. I just read articles where they're literally using the word new financial system. And this is from these are from people that this is what they do. Everybody is ringing the alarms, right? And it's unbelievable. What's going on? Let me see. Let me bear with me one moment before we jump into this article. I just want to see. I had an article. I don't remember where it is. We'll get to it sooner rather than later. If not today, tomorrow. I had an article that's potent. I promise. But this one here, they're jumping in. Why? First, the US was all against DLT and blockchain. Now they're going to use it for themselves. It was always a plan. So you have a lot of these companies now that are getting involved deeply with the companies in the US. Companies in the US as well as abroad. If you're reading the articles, you're seeing this. They're continuously, every single day, new articles coming out with surveys from hundreds to thousands of companies saying, hey, wait a minute, we can't keep up. We can't catch up. The old system's not enough. So if they can't catch up, but there's a bunch of penalties coming up, deadlines coming up. How do they meet those deadlines? How do they avoid those penalties? The only way that I can see logical is to adopt those who are ready to deploy now, those who have sandboxes to play in now, and you can do it quickly, test it out, and deploy quickly. That comes from bank coin companies. I just saw a bevy of articles come out. It was overnight, from yesterday into today, okay? And what were they? They were titled something. They were about financial fintechs putting pressure on legacy financial institutions. Oh, let's also sprinkle in there. Have you seen the articles on how many? Remember, I said this a long time ago. Have you seen the articles on how many DLT based companies, fintech companies are going for the licenses or whatever you have to obtain to become banks. They're going to weave their way so much into this financial system, the legacy financial system. They're going to absorb so much that I firmly believe in 10 years' time, whatever you knew to be the legacy system, most of it will be gone. It will be fully absorbed, if not mostly absorbed, into the new financial system. They have no choice. But them showing you something like this, and then what are they doing here? Let's read this little tidbit. It says, El Salvador offers insight as U.S. SEC considers real estate tokenization in regulatory sandbox. Real estate tokenization. They're wasting no time, right? No time. They're jumping right into the trillions. Serious business. They could have started out anywhere. They're starting out with real estate. They want that RWA flood to come worse than anyone. I'm telling you, because they want to jump right to the big money. They don't have time to play around. They don't want to play around. Right? But let's read a little bit further. It's getting serious. It says U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission is exploring a cross-border approach to digital asset oversight through early stage discussions with El Salvador's National Commission of Digital Assets. According to the meeting memo, the SEC is considering launching a regulatory sandbox to test tokenization models under real world conditions. The SEC highlighted CNAD's success in managing diverse tokenization scenarios, ranging from debt instruments to fractional property ownership and leasing contracts. The agency believes analyzing real estate tokenization within this regulatory sandbox could generate key insights on scaling the market safely and effectively. They're ready to kick the door open. The door is opening wider each day. Each day. The memo outlines 2 potential pilot programs allowing the SEC to gather hands-on data. And here's the thing about that. The SEC, now that they have gone through so much with these different blockchain companies in the US, they know who's legit. Make no mistake about it. And now if they ever need help or if they ever need to utilize a particular type of technology, they can't go to them because the old energy is gone. Those older people, not older people in an age way, but from the old regime are gone. But the information that says, hey, these companies are the best of the best, they're legit, remains. Do you believe that it's off the table for them to work with people, work with companies like Ripple? I don't think so. I don't think so. Business is business. Business is business, folks. I don't think so. And it's not just Ripple. Of course, that's just the focus here. I use them as an example for many things because, hey, they do a lot and they're big news. And people understand that a little bit better. But it could be any of these utility coin companies. It says these initiatives are also designed to lower the barrier to entry for smaller participants, with estimated costs capped at $10,000 per pilot. They're making it very cheap. $10,000. Right. Because they know in the long run, that money is going to flow. They want the more entities and individuals they get involved in these things, the more capital that's coming in. Everybody's bringing some type of capital or value. When it comes to RWA tokenization, the value is coming from every possible area. They know that. So no need to keep everyone out. No, in this instance, you want everyone in. Let's scroll down here a little bit. All right. Everything is changing, both with the utility coins as well as Bitcoin. The cross-border initiative reflects broader shifts in U.S. crypto policy. Why? Why? Because they want first of all, they want to make a ton of value. They're going to pump that stuff. All that insider stuff, that's in crypto. They want that money. They want that value. So they're going to do everything possible to make sure that this system flourishes They let all this potentiality build up over the years. Then they rip the barricade away and let the flood through. That's what they're preparing for now. That's why you have all of these deadlines and threats of penalties. You got to get this in place, that in place, or you're going to be left behind. They're literally saying that all over the place. Not you, but like the companies are going to be left behind if they don't do this. You've got research companies saying that. You've got the BIS saying that. All these authority figures. Why? You have the corporates. Did you see the video from yesterday? That was powerful. You have the corporates putting pressure on the banks, saying, hey, this is not good enough. Their legacy system offerings. They gave you the reasonings. No, they don't want the RTP. No, they don't want FedNow. They said, no, we want a complete system. We need something now for instant payments. You failed us. That's pretty much what they're saying. Read it for yourself. I covered it. That's huge. So then what are they demanding really? Why wait till this year? They're waiting for DLT. They're waiting for an XRPL. What was the article we read recently where I can't remember who it was that covered it? Some company was saying how, my apologies, I'm going to have to paraphrase. But they were saying how a lot of companies were looking forward to using the XRPL. They used almost that exact verbiage. And I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it at all. But it's not just the XRPL, Theyre, any of these top companies, Solana. I've seen countless articles about Solana lately. Have you? You've seen that? And what are they talking about? See, when they start talking about how the tech functions and they want this upgrade or that upgrade, or they're going to do this and that, they're not talking to regular people. They're talking to companies that could utilize the technology on a massive scale. That's what they've always wanted. That's where that value comes from, that props up that price, like what you see with gold. That's what that's about. It's just a lot of people didn't experience that. They probably went through a couple with crypto. A few people went through, the bull runs with crypto, but other than that, they haven't seen like that bull run like what gold is having right now, where the price gets propped up permanently or semi-permanently. They haven't seen that, so they don't believe. But those of us who have lived through it now, like is here, and we're getting predictions gold may go higher. We know it's real. We see the setup. We see what catalysts do that, and that's when big money comes in. Nations, banks, they prop the prices up and they don't come back down. Not to where they used to be. They don't. Once again, just go do a little gold research. You're going to see what I'm talking about. I have to use gold as the example. We came from the bottom with gold, the bottom. Now we're all the way up here. 3,200, 3,300, 3,500 touch there. Now we're getting predictions. Gold may go to 4,000 from multitude of big bank and financial institutions. And crypto is staring down the barrel of something like that. Once again, you got to watch the catalyst. If those nations buy these top coins or utilize them to any degree, that it could be a similar scenario. And here's the thing, and this is why I say I don't believe anybody can predict where these prices are going to go. Because when gold was at its lowest, like its bottom, most people said it would never touch 2,400 at that time, 2,300, 2,200. They said it was impossible. The same thing they say about crypto. Oh, it's impossible. I'm telling you. So it shows me that a lot of people are not able to predict such. And so I understand that. I'm not trying to make a prediction. I'm trying to acknowledge potentiality, and it is there. Simple as that. The potentiality is there. This is real conversation, real thoughts. So now, let's go here. Okay, so we have that. Then, of course, you have these. So you have major catalysts like that. Cross-border payments in the U.S. There's no way. It doesn't matter who it is. Everything has changed. All right, so it's like they wiped the slate clean. The chess game has begun again. There's like a major chess game going on. Then there's a miniature chess game going on. The small one has been reset. The major one is still game on. So Ripple can work with anyone they want to work with, SEC included. When it comes to cross-border payments, they're going to need the best of the best. If XRPL is the best of the best, and it's definitely one of them that's at the top, they may work with them. They may work with an Algorand or anyone else. We have to wait and see, but that's why we research. We're keeping our eyes open. But that's definitely a possibility. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. My apologies. Why wouldn't Ripple reach out to them? Why not? That's not unprecedented. If you understand business, it's not unprecedented. A lot of the large banks still have to work with the SEC, and the SEC went after them. They still have to work with them, right? It's not unprecedented. So now we have articles like this: XRP futures set to launch on CME next month, pending regulatory approval. So this is like sprinkles on top. Everything's going well. Everything's going good. CME Group plans to introduce futures contracts tied to cryptocurrency next month, pending regulatory clearance. The initiative marks another expansion in CME's push to offer regulated crypto derivatives following its recent Solana futures debut. Ranked number 4 with a market cap of $129 billion, the announcement is yet to boost the XRP price. At the time of publication, XRP changed hands for $2.21, representing a 6% jump in the past week. That's resilience. Very nice. My humble opinion. You could disagree. That's very nice in my opinion. I like to see the resilience because it tells me something. It tells me the bullishness is still there. Who's propping up that price? Who is it? Are you sure it's retail? You sure about that? Okay. So let's go here. Is retail propping up Bitcoin right now? Bitcoin has shown resilience, as I said it would. Is it retail propping Bitcoin up right now? You sure about that? Let's keep going. This is, quote, as innovation in the digital assets landscape continues to evolve, market participants continue to look to regulated derivatives products to manage risks across a wider range of tokens, unquote, said Giovanni Vicioso, global head of cryptocurrency products at CME Group. Quote, interest in XRP and its underlying ledger XRPL has steadily increased in institutional and retail adoption for the network grows. It says, and we are pleased to launch these new futures contracts to provide a capital efficient tool set to support clients' investment in hedging strategies, unquote. Here's the interesting thing. With all of this going on, and yes, we've had a lot of great news with the XRPL and Ripple and XRP, RLUSD. There's been good news all around. They made that hit and road announcement, and they moved very quickly on certain licensing with that, right? Funny part is, I don't believe that's a major announcement. Like, it's great. It's huge. I don't think that's part of their big announcements they're holding back. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. I think they have some major stuff going on that they've yet to announce. It's not time yet. It's just not. All of the energies point to somewhere in the future making those announcements. There's still a little bit of ways to go before the doorway to the golden age is fully open. Why make major announcements now? So even though that appeared major, I don't believe that it was. And I don't mean as far as its impact. I mean, there's much bigger things I think they're holding back. I'll just put it that way. My apologies. So I lack eloquence today. It's like today is a very strange day. It's like I feel very energized, but at the same time, my mind feels so relaxed. It feels so relaxed. It almost feels a little tired, although I feel very energized. Yeah. Have you ever felt that way? I did a lot of studying yesterday, so that's probably another thing. My mind may be worn out. My body is not worn out, but my mind is worn out. I did a lot of reading yesterday, and it wasn't on crypto. It was on very dense intellectual information. That's what I like. I had to feed my mind every day, or else I don't feel good. So now let's go here. A little bit of Bitcoin, and I'm hoping that article I was talking about is in here. We shall see. So this article says, expert outlines timeline for Bitcoin price target of $200,000. All right, let's hear what they have to say. The Bitcoin price timeline is being watched by almost every investor due to its influence on the global crypto market. Okay, yeah, I get it. I'm sorry, I had to pause to analyze what I'm reading. I got multiple meanings from that. So since its earlier crash, its recovery. Earlier crash. All right. I guess if you want to consider it that. Okay. A little dip here and there. That was nothing. Now, what happened in the bloody bear market, that was a crash to me. I'm like, okay, all right, now. But there's also opportunity because a lot of us got positioned during that time. But anyway, let's continue. Its recovery is the most awaited event. Well, it's shown resilience. It's shown pretty good resilience. It says one such crypto expert has reconfirmed the bullish trajectory. Well, they reconfirmed their belief in a bullish trajectory, just like I might. So let's discuss when it will happen. Sometimes people speak like as if their opinion or one's opinion is absolute law. Now, while I do give my opinion, which is based on my research, I don't consider my opinion absolute law. I'm not that way. You believe what you want to believe, and I'm just here to share. If someone agrees, I'm happy about it. That's it. The best way I could put it, and remain humble. It says a renowned crypto analyst, Dave the Wave. Okay, good. I like that. That's a nice name. Okay, Dave the Wave gained fame after his 2021 crypto market crash prediction came true. With the same analysis, he predicted the Bitcoin price timeline, which confirms it hitting $200,000 mark by 2025 ending. Is it possible? I would say yes, it is possible, but only possible if we see those catalysts actuated upon. That's it. If you don't see that, then I wouldn't expect it to happen this year, maybe sometime in 2026. Watch the catalyst directly. No sources. It's fun to have sources, yes, and stay abreast of things. But once it start getting hot and you hear let's say you hear one. My apologies. You know what happens sometimes? Right outside here, bushes. And right over there, huge oak tree. That oak tree's dropping pollen everywhere. And yes, it's coming. Some of it's going to get in here. Some of it's going to get in here and get in my throat. Cause a little cough. There's your explanation. All right. All right. So back to this. Yeah. So you see one country starting to collect Bitcoin or buy a little bit more, or a major country doing that, then that could spark others to do that, or a large asset manager going heavy, which could mean that they know a catalyst that we don't. So they're preparing before everything lifts off. Like, see, that's the type of stuff. If you start to see that, maybe something may happen. Not financial advice. I'm just saying, if it's to do this, it's going to take some major catalysts. It's not going to be led by retail. It is not. Retail has been exiting. They've been reporting it. Retail whale selling. Regular retail people selling. And who's been buying? And I've been saying this. The major companies have been buying. All right. The major companies. Oh, I have the article. Oh, my goodness. This may go a little bit longer, folks. I should have got to this earlier. I hope you made it this far. Please, I hope people made it this far. This one here. Listen, this is what I've been saying. Now listen to them. Have I not been saying that the big companies, asset managers, nations, etc., big entities are taking over Bitcoin? Listen to it. Now we have someone else saying it. This article is titled Sovereign Wealth Funds Piling into Bitcoin as Retail Exits. I've been saying this for a long time. Why? People are not understanding the explosion that's about to happen with Bitcoin. At some point, I don't know when, but at some point, that's why they're taking over. They're not here for pennies and peanuts. They're not. Same thing happened to gold. Same thing. Well, now, listen, the banks took over gold, but I mean big entities is what I'm talking about. John D. Augustino, head of strategy at Coinbase Institutional, compared Bitcoin to gold. That's what I'm talking about. People are not ready. They don't want to believe because some people are afraid of winning too much. There's a major victory on the horizon. Not financial advice. Once again, this is my opinion, but this is what I'm seeing. It says, and said many traders view it as an inflationary hedge. Wait, let's go down. Sovereign wealth funds and other institutions were accumulating Bitcoin during April 2025. Remember I said, look at the data, all those professional companies coming out, and they were telling us that it looked like, that it appeared that these big entities were buying by proxy, sometimes directly. There's a reason. What are they preparing for? It says while retail traders were exiting the markets, I told you, these big companies are going to be running Bitcoin. They're going to make sure that price goes high. That's why they're all excited about it and so certain of it. They want that money and they're going to get it. It's not going to be anywhere near the price. It shouldn't be of where it is now. So retail traders were exiting the markets via exchange traded funds, ETFs, and spot markets. According to John D. Augustino, the head of strategy at Coinbase Institutional, during a recent appearance on CNBC, the Coinbase executive likened Bitcoin to gold and said that many institutional buyers bought Bitcoin as a hedge against currency inflation and macroeconomic uncertainty. That I don't necessarily, I wouldn't say I agree with that, but it doesn't matter. As long as they buy, that's all that matters to me. As long as they buy, I don't care the reason. Because I intend to capitalize on entities like this, big time, big money companies and banks. That's what matters. It says, quote, when you do the work, there's a very short list of assets that mirror the characteristics of gold. Bitcoin is on that short list. Okay, I guess. So be it. All right, now, before I make this video too long, please, if you get a chance, go read this article yourself. If you have the opportunity, it's called Sovereign Wealth Funds Piling into Bitcoin as Retail Exits. Now, that's so unbelievable. To each his own. Retail does what it wants to do. That's why I focus on companies. The companies are getting prepared. So now that you have the information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, everybody, let's get to the money.